Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Pig Brain.
Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today at yet another season of Tata Crucible for Corporates, this time 2021. After a phenomenal season online, or rather with digital quizzing a year ago, during the thick of the pandemic, we really learnt a lot. And the great thing was, we got so many people from cities we never imagined to actually take part. So we continue online, though life is certainly getting better, and hopefully we'll be back to an absolute normal as we probably come to the next edition. But for now, life continues on the digital medium, and here we are today with the first of our clusters of this edition of Tata Crucible. We come to you from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana in the wild card, which is our first cluster, with our first set of 6 contestants. We have 2 wild cards with 6 contestants each, and 3 each will qualify into the cluster final. Quick word on the fair play protocols that we have put in place for this contest as we've evolved over a period of time. Well, all of them in the wild card will get 5 seconds of time to answer every question. The fair play protocols are up there on your screen. There's only 1 attempt on the buzzer. All of these contestants have really been kind to give a self-declaration that they would be alone in the room where they are quizzing. They would maintain a high level of integrity to maintain and uphold the credibility of an event. They would keep their hands on the buzzers in a manner that the buzzer is visible to us. And of course, there is a screen share monitoring that is happening constantly by the event management team to be sure that on the computer they are only on the master quiz template. Having said all of that, it's 5 seconds of time that every individual gets. So there's only that much that one can do as a human being in 5 seconds while also processing what I'm trying to ask you as a question. But please note, it's the first buzz that gets to answer. As far as the audience are concerned, to all of you there, while we welcome you to yet another extravaganza, all the audience questions will be asked during the cluster final. The buzzer indicator lights will also appear in the final because we would not have the time to relay that into this one. 3 from each wild card, like I said, move into the cluster final. So if you are ready, we've tested your buzzers. Time for us to get started. But let's first take a look at who these 6 are. With us here today as our first finalist qualifying into this wild card, we have from Tata Consultancy Services, Kapinjal. Welcome to you, Kapinjal. Neighboring Kapinjal as our second contestant from Pega Systems, we have with us Sumant. Welcome to you. Neighboring him as our third contender from Itty Bitty School. And it's always nice to have schools qualifying and educators getting into a Tata Crucible. Welcome, Vikyat, as our third contestant. From Tata Consultancy Services as our second representative from that company is Shekhar. Welcome to you. As we cut across to another technology giant from Amazon, representing them today is Nishant. Welcome to you. And completing our lineup here today from Google, representing them in this first part in the wildcard, Rajagopalan. Welcome to you, Raj. Those then, ladies and gentlemen, are 6 finalists here today in the wildcard. Remember, 3 of them will go through. It's time for us to get started. And here we go. Which brand became extremely popular after camera shots of General Douglas MacArthur wearing it were seen during World War II? On the buzzer, they've gone for it. Yes. Go ahead, Kapinjal.
Yeah, so the brand is Ray-Ban. So he was, wearing those
plus one to you, plus 1 to you on a Ray-Ban. So he started with a positive. Kapinjal from TCS. As we move to the second one. This app gets its name largely from a term that is associated with the buzzing of bees and other insects. It basically, Sumant has gone for it. Yes, Sumant? You got to switch on your mic. Go on.
Is it Twitter?
Oh, -1 to you on Twitter. The answer is Bumble. Bumble is an app which is on a bumblebee, and he gets a -1. As we go to the third question, hands on that buzzer. Which automobile brand actually means mountain blade in its country of origin? The brand is extremely well known in the business of automobiles and music. Nobody going for it. 5 seconds of time. Automobile and music. One common brand. No one's on the buzzer. And Kapinjal, too late. Sorry, we just ran out. You want to try?
Yeah, so it is the Yamaha.
Is correct, but you would have got a +2. He's smiling. He knows he could have gone on to a +2 and been really safe on that. But anyway, question number 4. As we move to the next one, the answer is Yamaha. As we go to the fourth one. When a person works with iron, he's known as a blacksmith. What does a red smith work with? Everyone knows that a blacksmith works on iron. What does a red smith work on? 5 seconds of time ticking away, and no one's on that buzzer. The Andhra Pradesh Telangana wildcard is going to get tense, in my opinion. With 4 questions down, the answer was, well, red is the color of copper. Copper is what I was looking for as an answer. As we go to question number 5, hands on the buzzer. Here it comes. Which famous brand in the world of beverages is also identified by its identity called the Siren? Vikyat has gone for it. Yes, Vikyat?
Starbucks.
Is correct. He'll get himself a +1. And going on to the next one, 2 of them on +1 apiece as we go to question number 6. If a person is a chiffonier, what is his or her profession? Would he or she be making coffins or wigs? A chiffonier. Sumant has gone for it. Yes, Sumant?
Wigs.
Is correct. Wig is absolutely correct. A wig maker is actually called a chiffonier. So Suman negating that negative on that one. 2 of them on +1 as we go to question number 7. The brand mascot is a girl, featured typically on a wax wrapping that this brand uses. It was rumored to be a childhood snap of Neerja Deshpande. Nishant has gone for it. Yes, Nishant?
Parley.
Is correct. The brand mascot of Parle G, the cute little girl on that wax wrapping. It's a very interesting wrapping even to this day. And he gets a +1. So 3 of them on +1, and we've got 3 questions to go. Here's the next one. Which social media giant would you associate to a new font aptly called the Chalk? Rajagopalan.
Twitter.
Is correct. Oh, 4 of them on +1. It's going to be a really nervous moment here today with 2 questions remaining. And I tell you what, with everyone on +1, it is going to be tense. Penultimate question. Bullseye. Bullseye is the name of a brand identity for which Vikyat has gone for it.
Target.
Is correct. That, I think, will take him into the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana final. Well, that expression of his says it all. Pressure can be intense, but he is definitely through with a +2 because he can't really finish 4th from here. So he's going to sit far away from that buzzer with 1 question to go as he moves into the Telangana-Andhra Pradesh final. Final question. It's a famous US magazine that is known for its annual issue with swimsuits. It's a famous Kapinjal has given it a go. If he gets it right, he's going to go through. Yeah, Kapinjal.
So it is Sports Illustrated.
That's correct. And that gives +1 to Kapinjal, which means he's on +2. He goes through to the Andhra Pradesh Telangana final. Vikyat goes through. But we've got a tiebreaker still to be resolved between Nishant and Rajagopalan. Well, it's a battle between Amazon and Google. That's a huge battle. All right, here we go. Question to both of you on the tiebreaker. This entity was founded in the 80s. It was named after basically the type of care that they wanted to give to people. However, the company was named Beauty Cosmetics. And at a later date, it changed itself to the name that they had originally thought of. Which famous FMCG company from southern India are we talking about? They're known today for their shampoos. They're known for a lot of brands and have become very big in the FMCG space. Rajagopalan is giving it a go. Yes, Rajagopalan. Beauty Cosmetics.
Kevin Care.
Kevin Care, Rajagopalan will take you into the Andhra Telangana final. Oh, look at that fist going up like a school kid. It happens in any quiz, any age. Hard luck to Nishant from Amazon. He played well, but he certainly needed one more answer. But ladies and gentlemen, three of them going through from here. Kapinjal, Vikhyat and Rajagopalan. On the other side, the next wild card from the Andhra Telangana region. Stay with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the second wild card of the first cluster from Andhra and Telangana. With us here today are 6 outstanding quizzers, of whom 3 will join the previous 3 who made it to the cluster final. For now, our 6 here today. First up, we have with us from Tata Consultancy Services, representing them, Srivastava. Welcome to you, Srivastava. Neighboring him as our second contender and a former national champion of this quiz, from the Vizag Steel Plant, Rahul. Welcome to you, Rahul. And there he is. As we move on to our third contender, and these are young challengers qualifying. So wonderful to see young talent coming in, representing Qualcomm this year in the nation's top league, is Abbas. Welcome to you, Abbas. As we cut across, ladies and gentlemen, the defending champion from 2020 is back here today in 2021 from Sai Mitra, Naveen Kumar. Welcome, Naveen. As we cut across to KPMG, representing the great consulting giant, Vamshi. Welcome to you. And finally, completing our lineup from PK Global in this big cluster final to qualify into that is Krishna. Welcome, Krishna. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 6 as we get started with the second of our wildcards, Tata Crucible Corporate 2021. Here we go. Question number 1. Here we go. This company started using it as a promotional line, but over a period of time, it became a phenomenal identity, especially during the pandemic. Which company's frontline partners are now known as hunger saviors? Vamshi has gone for it. Yes, Vamshi. He's from KPMG.
Swiggy.
Yes?
Swiggy.
Swiggy is absolutely right, and he'll get a +1 on that. As we go to the second one, hands on the buzzer. Which famous company released a title called Everyone is Awesome? It's a set to celebrate and recognize LGBT and the community. Which unlikely toy maker in the world is this? They released an entire set titled Everyone is Awesome. Someone's gone for it. It's Srivastava. Yes, Srivastava. He's from TCS. Go on.
Is it Lego?
Well played. Extremely well played. He'll get himself a +1. Lego takes him off the mark. Question number 3. Hands on the buzzer. Think with me. Fundamentals for making our country ideal. He's a book authored. Naveen Kumar from Sai Mitra has gone for it. Yes, Naveen.
Okay, this is the Subrata Roy.
+1 to you on Subrata Roy from the Sahara Group. He'll get himself a 1. So 3 of them on +1 with 3 questions gone as we neutralize the buzzer and go to the 4th question. Feel love use hate is a hashtag of a sports and lifestyle brand with Virat Kohli, Naveen Kumar again.
Okay, this is Adidas.
+1 again to him. He's playing well and he's moved on to +2. Somewhere these contestants will take a call on when it's enough and they know they're not going to be finishing 4th, but he's on +2. Question number 5. Harsh Jain and Bhavit Seth came up with an app in the year 2008. Naveen Kumar yet again.
Dream 11.
Absolutely perfect. He's gone on to 3 points. And I think that's a very good score for him. I'm not too sure he's going to buzz up any further because he knows he'll be in the final, but it's all his game nonetheless. As we go to the next one. This famous Indian company smartly decided to become the official umpire partner of the IPL for a period of 5 seasons. Instead of looking at sponsoring any team, they took the umpire who's permanently on the ground. Which famous company did this? Vamshi's gone for it.
Paytm.
Well played. Paytm chose the umpire rather than any team. And they're permanently seen on screen because the umpire is always there. And no one really thought of that. Clever marketing. 4 questions to go. Vamshi is on 2. Naveen is on 3. It's going to get tense from here. Here's the next one. Suffering from a spine illness and with chronic pain, this famous founder of a great brand shot himself in 1932, leaving a note to my friends, Naveen Kumar.
This is George Eastman Kodak.
Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Here's the next one and question number 8. Which company has a claim to fame of having 5 employees winning the Nobel for excellent performances in the field of technology alone to date? Rahul's gone for it. Which giant in the world?
DuPont.
A -1. I said field of technology is IBM. And you stopped me just before I was going to say a big blue achievement. Question number 9. Rahul gets a -1, which means he's got to play it out on the next 2. Question number 9. Which Indian technology giant is a founding member of the famous Transform to Net Zero? It's a cross-sector initiative with huge players from across the world. Your options are Infosys, Wipro, or TCS. Abhas has gone for it.
Yeah, I'll say TCS.
-1. You should have given the odds that Srivastava would have gone for it if it was TCS. So you could have eliminated that easily, but nonetheless, the answer being Wipro. 1 more to go. 2 of them are on -1. So Srivastava will hold out. 1 more question. Let's see what happens. Final question. Which term, commonly used in the world of business or in finance and commerce, is an English term that is borrowed from a French word meaning debt contract? It's a French word for debt contract. Abbas has gone for it.
Mortgage.
Is perfectly correct. Oh, had he not gone on TCS and played this, he would have been on +1. But he's actually helped Srivastava to qualify into the Andhra Telangana final. And Srivastava has a nice innocent smile there saying, well, thank you so much, Abbas. But playing remarkably well are Vamshi from KPMG and the ever-consistent Naveen Kumar from Sai Mitra. The 3 of them will move into the final of Andhra and Telangana, and we will be back with the first cluster final on the other side. Stay with us. You certainly do not want to miss this. Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today enjoying yet another season of Tata Crucible for Corporates 2021. You watched those amazing wildcards with the 6 of them qualifying into the first cluster final. You know who they are. But nonetheless, in this final, it's going to be one out of these 6 who moves into the national semi-final. For now, here today, from the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana region, let's take a look at who these 6 are. Qualifying into our final here today as our first contender from Tata Consultancy Services is Kapinjal. Welcome to you, Kapinjal. Neighboring Kapinjal as our second contestant here today is an entrepreneur, a teacher from the Itty Bitty School, and that is Vikyat. Welcome to you. So from a tech pro to an educator, as we move on to our third contestant from Google, representing them, Rajagopalan. Welcome to you, Raj. Neighboring Raj as our fourth contender, also from Tata Consultancy Services, is Srivastava. Welcome to you. And moving to our next contender here on screen is the defending champion of Tata Crucible from 2020, the man who stood alone at the end of it all last year in the digital extravaganza, from Sai Mitra Construction, Naveen Kumar. Welcome to you. And completing our lineup here today as we cross the defending champion and move across to KPMG, represented by Vamshi. Welcome, Vamshi. The rules of the game are simple. You get 5 seconds of time to answer. The protocols of the rules have been followed by all the contestants. All of you are familiar with it. 100, the value of an answer, whether you get it right or whether you get it wrong. Life in the last 1.5 years has taught us perhaps 3 key lessons to lead us into the future. And that is to find strength, to find the right strategy, and to deploy those two with the right speed. That really is the mantra with which we will lead our lives into our future, our corporates into their future, and our performances at quiz shows like this as we unfold Tata Crucible. Well, the world certainly watched with delight as wonderful sportsmen across the world went faster, higher, and stronger. Here today, we will watch them play out with their strength, strategy, and speed. Time for us to move on to the first frontier, where these contestants will test their strength and resolve on their own knowledge. All right, questions will start appearing on your screen as we start with the first one to kickstart this edition of Tata Crucible. On your screen, the first question coming up now. Identify this famous advertiser from the world of Tatas, which was a big entity. Someone's gone for it. It's Naveen Kumar, yes?
Okay, my guess here is Cisco, erstwhile Tata Steel.
A minus 100. He gets a minus 100 on that one. Well, one of the first early starters from India, reviving an old age and glory of Indian exports, says the advertisement. But it is a company which is again ignited in many ways, is Tata Exports, a company that had the early licenses to export from our country. A minus 100 to the defending champion as he starts the quest to defend yet another Tata Crucible title. As we move on to the next one on your screens, here's your question. This is the Nizam's G State Railway. Naveen Kumar has gone for it.
Okay, this is how the APS RTC started. So this is the Nizam State Railway and State Railway. So that is how the current the APS RTC right now today it is the precursor of this.
Well, you do not allow a quizmaster to ask us questions, you are going to be in trouble. A minus 100 yet again. The defending champion in a hurry. The question was straightforward. The Nizam's G Railway. What does G stand for in the Nizam's G State Railway? Otherwise, I would have carried the full form if I had asked you what it led to and so on. He gets a negative. He gets another minus 100. It stood for the word guaranteed. It was the Nizam's Guaranteed State Railway from Hyderabad. Question creating trouble for that region. 2 questions done. 2 minuses to Naveen. He is in a hurry. But this year around, he's starting in a different direction. As we go on to the next one. Hands on the buzzer. Question on your screen. Here it comes. This is Merrill Fernando. He is the founder. Naveen Kumar.
This is Merrill Fernando. So my answer is Dilmati.
Minus 100. Absolute rush of blood. He's just buzzing looking at the visuals. I've cautioned the contestants to not do that. The trick in the question is, this man lived his entire business life by that quote. Business is a matter of human service, is what Merrill Fernando, the founder of Dilma Tea, always said. But who inspired him with this quote? And it's a founder of a great company himself. The answer is Milton Hershey from the Hershey's chocolate. Wait for me to frame my questions, not as straightforward as you think it is. As we go to the next one, on your screen, the fourth one, here it comes. This is Nihon Koden. A researcher from this company invented and patented the basic principles of an instrument that has become ever so important in the modern world as we live it currently. He developed the world's first something that is perhaps something many of us have purchased during the last 1.5 years. What device, which has obviously become a small cute one these days, did this researcher give the world? Srivastava from TCS.
Is it pulse oximeter?
Extremely well played. Srivastava has got that absolutely right. I was giving you the history of the pulse oximeter, and he's got that perfectly right to get the first 100 on the positive. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer contestants. If you could hold your mobiles up, here it comes. It was originally Naveen Kumar.
Okay, this is the Laksa pens. DK Jain, Devendra Kumar Jain, Laksa pens.
Absolutely right. This time around, he went beyond the picture of Davinder Kumar Jain. The answer indeed being Laksa pens, starting out originally as artist in 1966. Naveen Kumar will regain ground and get 100. As we move to the final question on the first frontier of our battle here today, on your screen, here it comes. An acronym got coined and a concept originated from this 1992 best-selling book called Your Money or Your Life. It was written by Robin and Joe, and it basically advocated a movement for people on financial management. What is the four-letter acronym that it gave the world? Naveen Kumar.
Okay, the four-letter acronym is FIRE, FIRE.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire is absolutely right. Naveen Kumar certainly on fire. He's not going to be too bothered now because he lost 300 and then gained 200 very quickly. But I'm going to tell you where exactly the contestants stand. But before we move any further, let me ask you an audience question to kickstart this entire journey of 2021 for corporates. All you got to do is to key in the answer into that chat box wherever you are watching this quiz. And if you are quick and fast and correct, you stand a chance to win a prize from the Tatas. Which Tata brand actually kicked off a celebration for the Olympics by coming up with a campaign to support India's wrestlers who were competing at the Tokyo Olympics, which said, Desh ke wrestlers, and gave them their salams and their best wishes. It triggered many other companies to follow suit. But which company pioneered this idea from the Tata Group? Key in your answers. Before we go forward, let's take a look at where the contestants stand on Crucible Quotient, as we call it. Srivastava on 100 is in the lead. Naveen Kumar was on minus 300, but he's very, very quickly recovered ground. And for a quizzer of his caliber, a minus 100 may not necessarily bother him too much. A minus 300 certainly would have. But as we move on to the next frontier of our battle here today, it's really where the contestants will play their games out, will play out their strategy as we move into our second frontier, strategy from our contestants. Here it comes. The first one coming up on your screen now. This was a shaving cream for men. And which famous brand gave India this unique campaign which celebrated men and made shaving look humorous? Well, you can't beat them all was the great or the humorous campaign that ran in those days. A great brand which also had a men's option. Many know it only for their cosmetics for women. Great Indian brand. Nobody going for it. 5 seconds of time. Kapinjal, just in the nick of time. Yes, Kapinjal.
I'm just guessing, is this Lakme?
Is absolutely correct. Lakme gives you 100. Oh, look at that joy. He got that absolutely right. Lakme for men with a shaving cream is absolutely right for a first 100 to Kapinjal. He's a very good quizzer as well, and he gets to 100. As we go to the next one, onto your screens now. They are known as a couple who shaped in many ways the way we live today. In 1955, Papul, the noted writer on Indian crafts and the founder of Indian handlooms, met them at the Museum of Art in New York. What resulted was the creation of something that in many ways has changed the way India looks at a lot of things that get created for them. What got instituted by these two people? 5 seconds of time. Nobody on the buzzer. 5 seconds lapsing. Oh, Naveen Kumar. Yes, Naveen.
Okay. This is NIA Ahmedabad, National Institute of Design, NID Ahmedabad.
For now, he gets himself a plus 100 on that one as National Institute of Design. Is absolutely right. Naveen Kumar gets 100 and will erase all the negatives that he took in the first frontier of the battle. The next one coming up on your screen. Here it comes. The Pestonji family was originally from a small Naveen Kumar, again on the buzzer. Yes, Naveen.
Okay, I'm guessing this is a Hyderabad-based brand called Chermas.
It's a Hyderabad-based brand called Chermas. I was just moving into the question of a store named after Cherazad and Maniza. Is absolutely right, is Chermas. He'll get himself 100 and get into the positives. Is the defending champion, remember. So Kapinjal, Srivastav and Naveen all on par at this stage. But Naveen's had to do a lot of work to get there. As we go to the next one on your screens now. This is a huge entity which got set up in 1984. Arguably one of the first publishing houses dedicated to publishing on and for women. How do we know this startup? Nobody's gone for it. How do we know this startup? 5 seconds of time, ticking away, no one on that. This is Kali Publishing for Women, and none of them going for it. They've really become a voice in many ways for women. Here's the next one on your screens now. It's a brand that became extremely popular. The year was 1951. They created these boxes in India, Naveen Kumar.
Okay, this is Godrej. They created India's first ballot boxes. In 1951 was the year when India went for the first independent elections.
He gets a minus 100 on that one. The answer is Hyderabad Alwyn. Hyderabad Alwyn was a company which also manufactured the ballot boxes, stopping me in a hurry. He got the first Indian elections, absolutely right, 1951. Every Indian would know that in this democracy. But Hyderabad Alwyn was a tricky question, and he did not wait for me to speak a little more on that. So a minus 100 to him. Well, if there seems to be competition, the competition seems to be himself or Naveen Kumar sometimes. As we move on to the next one on your screens now. Namaste, Dr. V is a book, a Harvard case study, and something every Indian would be really proud of. What is the V in Dr. V? if you could tell me about this great revolution, Vamsi from KPMG, a Harvard
Yeah,
case
so-
study, a title of a book. Yes, Vamsi.
So he's a doctor based out of Tamil Nadu. We operated on low cost, bottom of pyramid public where they could not afford eye care. I'm having some trouble recollecting the name, but I think it starts with Vaitarajan or something on those lines.
Can you give me the name of the eye care? I'll give it to you either ways. Because either or is okay for me, either the person or the entity. It's a corporate quiz. What he does is done by many people. So you got to narrow it down to Dr. V or to his enterprise. Quick answer, please. I'm giving you a fair chance.
I cannot, so I'm sorry.
Minus 100, Vamshi. Minus 100. I'm sorry, Vamshi, because many people are now trying to emulate that idea. So the idea is not the question. The question is a very specific one. And the idea is not a Harvard case study. He is the Harvard case study. So the answer is Dr. Venkataswamy from the Aravind Eye Hospital. So can't give it to you on that. Aravind Eye Hospital is a Harvard case study on absolutely right bottom of the pyramid solutions for affordable eye care. As we go to the next one, so minus 100 to Vamshi. And the next question on your screens, here it comes. This is Dr. Go ahead, Naveen Kumar.
Okay, fine. I'm guessing like he was a person who came out with the ease of doing business report.
A minus 100 to Naveen yet again. It is Robert Ward, the Global Director of Global Forecasting. And he's the man who gave the world civets as emerging markets. Colombia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Egypt, Turkey, and South Africa will constitute the civets nations. And the next one coming on your screens now. What really is the concept behind the accuracy of these models? All created from the world of phones and phone-based watches and so on. But these are specific watches. All of them provide you with enormous accuracy for a simple technological reason. What? How do they manage global accuracy? Anybody on the buzzer? 5 seconds of time running away. No one's gone on that buzzer. Well, these are modern watches, phones, technology, all of which works on time linked through satellites. So these are satellite watches, satellite phone time, etc., which essentially adjusts time accurately every 1 second. And these are basically because these are like atomic clocks which are in GPS satellites and they get linked into this. So no one going on the buzzer on that funda as we go to the next one on your screens now. This was a famous campaign of a brand that merged with Cadbury. Naveen Kumar has gone for it.
This is a Fry's chocolate which got merged with Cadbury.
Absolutely right. He'll get himself 100 on that one. Any emotion, give them a fry. Desperation, pacification, I think acclamation, something else. I used to love that campaign. And a fry will still give him 100 and a perfect 100 at that. So he's really playing a tight game here as we quickly move to the next one. Onto your screens, question appearing now. Here it comes. These two entities were earlier owners. Naveen Kumar yet again.
So British. So basically, my answer is Tata Line. So Tata Line was started because like these people they were charging much high fare for the Indian business people. So that's why Jamshedji J.N. Tata started Tata Line to rival these people.
Minus 100 to Naveen Kumar from Sai Mitra, nowhere close to it. This is the Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders. And these were the former owners, famous for manufacturing warships, submarines, all of that for the Indian Navy. And of course, for vessels into offshore oil drilling as well over a period of time. So that's a really tough question. And he gets a minus 100 and goes back into the minuses. Srivastava on 100, Kapinjal on 100, others on minuses. It's becoming a very nervous first cluster that we are watching here. A couple of more questions and then I'll show you the scores. Here's the next one on your screen now. All of this would lead you to one individual, Turnbull and Asser, a famous gentleman entrusted with the responsibility to transform Dubai. That's a clue I'm leading you into. Vamshi is giving it a shot. Which famous
Sheikh Zayed.
personality? Yes.
Sheikh Zayed,
Oh,
the former Prime
he
Minister
would be
of
the one
Dubai.
who would entrust it. So the question wouldn't be that. So minus 100 to you, Vamshi. He gave it a brave try. But Sheikh Rashid actually selected this man. And Turnbull Asser would have been your big clue. Muhammad Al Fayed. The famous Muhammad Al Fayed is the one who would connect you to all of these. As you get a minus 100 on that. And we move to the final one in this frontier. Before we go into the final frontier of this battle. Nervous battle, so you're not going anywhere. You want to keep watching this. Here's the final question in this round. Now, all of these will lead you to one famous entity. Kapinjal has gone for it quickly. Yes, Kapinjal, go ahead.
Yeah, So the guy on the right is Mr. G.A. Cross.
Okay.
G.A. Cross was the guy behind the brand called Wolverine. Okay, and then we've got Harley Davidson and Cat. And I think this is so my answer will be Hush is the brand.
So you've given me too many things. Just make up your mind.
Shoe, So the shoe brand is Hush Puppy. So Hush Puppy is my answer. Hush Puppy is my answer.
Your overall answer is the missing brand in the context of you got G.A. Cross very right. And that was a good starting point. You're finally narrowing in and saying what would be missing here is Hush Puppies. And your overall answer would be Hush Puppies. Kapinjal from TCS really thinking it through well. Gets himself 100. Well played, Kapinjal. Yes. Extremely. Oh, look at that joy on his face. He narrowed it beautifully. He came down to Wolverine. He came down to the people. And that's the right way to play a game like this where you really deduce the question before you crack the answer. He's moved to 200 and that is a significant 100 for him to get. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this quiz is getting so complicated. Trust me, from my experience, you've not seen it all yet. Naveen Kumar going up and down, Kapiljan playing well, Srivastava scoring. A lot can happen in this final, but before we move forward, let me ask you another couple of audience questions so you can win prizes. Key in into that chat box, be quick and be correct. It's a European transnational company whose commercials in the American market features an actor, musician, Tim Williams. In the Indian market, it featured a person called Abhinav Kumar, who was also the country manager at the time. All you got to tell me is which company am I talking about. So, start keying in your answers right now. Here's your next question for the audience watching this on the internet. This Independence Day, that's 2021, a company came out with an extremely touching music video, which came from this young 5-year-old called Esther, who's from Mizoram. And she gave this rendition of Ma Tujhe Salam, which really took her heartwarming performance, took the whole world or India by storm. And everyone said, oh, wow, what a way to do it for Independence Day. All you got to tell me is which brand came up with this idea with Esther. Before we move any further, here's a look at Crucible Quotient on your screen. Leading with 200 is Kapinjal from Tata Consultancy Services. Behind him, Srivastava, also from TCS. And behind him are, of course, Vikyat and Rajagopal, who haven't taken negatives, but they would really have to start scoring at some point. Naveen Kumar, the defending champion's been having a turbulent ride. He's on minus 100. Vamshi on minus 200. We'll know who's going to move on into the final frontier on the most critical phase, not just in our lives, in everyone's lives, and in this quiz. Time to test how they perform with speed as a factor. Here it comes. We've tested their strength. We've seen their strategy. We'll see what they do when it comes to speed. I've got 6 questions. Nothing appears on your screen. I read out the questions to you. You determine the speed of your answer by determining when you want to press the buzzer. So you're permitted to stop me while I read the question and outsmart the other 5 by basically setting a pace beyond the normal regulated time, which is 5 seconds. If none of you press the buzzer, the question lasts for 5 seconds and then lapses. Remember, you are absolutely fine in stopping me by pressing the buzzer, but I will stop the moment you hit the buzzer. If you're ready, hands on the buzzer, nothing on your screen, hear me out, 6 questions remaining, and trust me, it's going to be 6 crucial questions here today in this Tata Crucible. Here's the first one. A film was produced in 1947 by Gemini Studios called Cinema Kadambam, which was 5 to 10 minutes in duration. A famous person associated with the movie later went on to start a company which diversified and went into the computers business, calling it the first computers. The faulty business model and poor decisions sent that business into a tailspin, resulting in the company losing a lot of money. Which company was this which actually got into the computer business? This company in itself was very well known for training students for competitive exams. Rajagopalan, go ahead.
My guess is Satyam.
We'll give you a minus 100 on that. Well, I was really talking of an era when the tech companies hadn't really made too much of a noise in India. The answer, brilliant tutorials. Brilliant tutorials came from an era when I read a lot of those brilliant tutorials books before deciding I will not write an IIT JEE in those days. But nonetheless, that is life. But they were an outstanding company and we had many of those books in our homes in those days. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer. Beatnik Bandit, El Dorado, Fleetside, T-Bird, Barracuda, Python, Silhouette, Hot Heap, J-Car, Mustang, Sweet 16, and a couple more. All of these were launched in 1968. Which company launched this entire series of automobiles in that year? Rajagopalan.
Ford.
Minus 100 to you. The answer, and all of you are going to laugh, it's Hot Wheels from Mattel. These were automobiles of a different size launched by Mattel, and these were the names of the cars that they gave the world, and a minus 100 to you, Rajagopalan. Question number 3, hands on the buzzer. In 1906, Haji Mirza Abdul Namazi, whose family, Naveen Kumar.
My guess is Corporation Bank.
Minus 100 to you. Well, I mean, it's a long question. Why would you do something like that? An absolute minus 100 to you. The question was, it's a company called Ghani and Sons. And I was going on to describe a staff who they had recruited at the time. And the employee was who I was going to describe to you. Well, as they say, the rest is history. The answer, Dr. M.G. Ramachandran. So nowhere in the line of the answering zone. Naveen Kumar really putting a lot of pressure on himself. 3 questions remaining here today. as we go on to the next one. Hands on the buzzer. Kapinjal is going to be super careful from here. Is he on the verge of creating one of the biggest upsets Tata Crucible would see in 2021 in the first episode itself? Well, here's the next question. Established in 1750 as a cotton merchant entity, it had associations and partnerships with diverse interests ranging from oil and gas to agriculture. The decline of the British Empire found them find an opportune position to have an established infrastructure in emerging economies. As a result, the company was hired as an agent by British industries and suppliers for trade in India and Pakistan. It was part of an association which later became part of the Tatas. Extremely famous Naveen Kumar.
Okay, my guess is Finlay and Company.
Well played. Extremely well played. He's not someone who'll give up. He's fighting his way back. 2 questions still to go. But I just get a feeling he's on a -100. So, well, he's put himself in a lot of spot of bother today. Penultimate question. Here we go. The United Nations Global Compact was formed in 2000 as a pact to encourage businesses and firms to adopt sustainable and socially responsible policies. When a report found that 40% of the corporate members who volunteered for the compact did not use the 10 principles, a term was coined to basically describe deceptive marketing by such companies. What was this term inspired by the color of the UN flag? It's a term that came from the color of the UN flag. Nobody on the buzzer. 5 seconds lapsing. The answer that I was looking for is blue washing. Blue washing was a term where all these companies, which basically were responsible for sustainable practices and socially responsible policies, did not implement them the right way. Final question from Hyderabad, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. Well, from all over, we've got contestants here today. 1 question to go. Srivastava on 100. If he holds on to that, he'll finish runner-up here today. Kapinjal on 200 is really on the verge of a big win. Final question. I live in flat number 2, 12 Arbor Road, Highbury, London. I have appeared in advertisements such as Rema, M&M, Fujifilm, Nissan, Snickers, all of them. Naveen Kumar.
My guess is Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean is absolutely right. Naveen Kumar will get himself 100 and get back to where he actually started this quiz. Well, it's been an unbelievable quiz for a national champion from Sai Mitra. We'll take a look at the scores on our screens before I make that comment. Do we have the biggest upset of Tata Crucible 2021? We do. On your scorecard appearing there, Kapinjal from Tata Consultancy Services, cool, calm and collective with 200 wins. The win is perhaps not as important as dethroning a phenomenal quizzer and a sensation at Tata Crucible. Naveen's been one of our arguably respected ambassadors of this quiz. A sensational quizzer. Well, like I said, he has competition in himself. And he's smiling there because he knows he really went helter-skelter for leather. Works sometimes, does not work sometimes, but he's used to it and the smile explains that. Hard luck, Naveen, as he finishes with nil after all that drama that you witnessed. Calm, the power of silence gets you money in life sometimes. Srivastava finishes runner-up with 100 from TCS. While Kapinjal will move into the national semi-final as the first champion. He's a very good quizzer. His geography keeps changing sometimes, but nonetheless, he holds on to his quizzing and it's a true passion of his. You've got another very good quizzer lined up here who's not had a good day. Well, unlikely 0 to Vikyat, a wonderful quizzer and a former champion from his college days in Singapore. But ladies and gentlemen, that's only to illustrate the caliber of our contestants here today. It's that moment, ladies and gentlemen, for me to bring in our guest of honor here today after we've seen an absolutely riveting final. And, well, It's going to be big news in the quizzing world, at least, that Naveen Kumar has lost. Sometimes, headlines come very differently in the world. And sometimes when a Roger Federer loses, it's not the winner who makes the headlines. And it is one such moment. But ladies and gentlemen, it's truly our pleasure and privilege to have with us a young leader from the Tata fraternity who represents an entity which has really shown what resilience means, what moving forward in troubled time means. The Taj has really innovated and led India in many ways through this pandemic, and hopefully the pandemic is behind us. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who's also an alumnus from Cornell. He has been in the hospitality space for a long while, headed some great properties, including the region that we are coming from. And I remember meeting him last there at the wonderful Falaknuma Palace, where he was the general manager, but currently heads a wonderful property, which I do miss in my traveling, which is heavily restricted at Taj Santa Cruz. But ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure and privilege to have with us a young general manager from the Taj Group of Hotels, Mr. Ritesh Sharma. Thank you so much, Ritesh, for joining us. Truly wonderful to have you with us. And Tata Crucible has always been synonymous with the Taj, if I must say that. We've always been at your properties, and it's all about young India. But tell me, do you really see the pandemic behind us? Let me start with that question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Balasubramaniam. Thank you very much for having me here. And thank you very much for the generous introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate Kapinjal from TCS. What a fine contest, and many congratulations, Kapinjal, for the next round as well. Best wishes. I think we have to be very cautious at this moment while you see things opening around. But I think we will have to be very cautious and follow all protocols. We feel very encouraged. We've seen business coming back, guests coming back who we were missing for almost 18 months now. But yes, things are opening up, Ms. Balasubramaniam. But we're very cautious, positively cautious at this moment.
I think that's extremely well said, which is also one of the reasons we decided to continue digitally with Tata Crucible. What is not required to go physical need not go physical, and that is being responsible. So I think you bang on. Well, you rightly put it. Your missing customers list would certainly have me feature on that. But truly appreciate your presence here today and for the wonderful work you people have been doing, especially the kind of innovations Taj has made with gourmet food reaching us at home and remarkable stuff, truly resilient and truly remarkable. Appreciate your presence, and I request you to just stand by as we digitally do the honors for our two winners here today. Well, an unlikely result at an Andhra Telangana TCS sweeping the quiz, I think, for the first time in the history of this quiz at that region. Finishing runner-up Srivastava from Tata Consultancy. He wins himself 18,000 rupees. He's all smiles. And sometimes in life, when you just enjoy, it turns out to be on your side. But the remarkable outcome of this quiz here today, our champion, Kapinjal from Tata Consultancy Services. Congratulations to you. He is too seasoned a campaigner to know that the 35,000 does not matter. It is this victory that is a really big one for him, given the quality of contestants who've been in this lineup. Congratulations, Kapinjal. And ladies and gentlemen, and all you youngsters, and all those of you thousands watching this, in fact, in the previous digital edition, we had more than 4 million people cumulatively watching Tata Crucible. That's a tribute to how India celebrates knowledge and to the commitment and support we get from people like Mr. Ritesh Sharma and all the seniors at the Tatas. Thank you so much, Mr. Ritesh Sharma. Wish you well and your team, and do look forward to being back sooner than later. Thank you so much for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
It's been a privilege to be here. I've always looked up to this platform and yourself, Ms. Balasubramaniam. Thank you very much for having me here. And congratulations to all the participants and the winners. and best wishes for the next round. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a dramatic first cluster final you witnessed here for Tata Crucible. It really sets the tone for this season, with Kapinjal from Tata Consultancy Services getting past the defending national champion Naveen Kumar. What does that mean? India will have a new Tata Crucible corporate champion this year. That's for clear. That's sure. And that is on day one. Well, it really sets everything into an absolutely new paradigm. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back with you with the next cluster with a new set of 6 contestants. But till we get there, from me, Pig Brain, from all of us here at Team Tata Crucible, thank you for tuning in. You certainly do not want to miss this season as much as I do not want to miss hosting this. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.